Are you happy? You're happy. Okay, here we go. And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because, well, Pride Month is over. I guess I have to off the hat. Because, as we know, after Pride comes the wrath. And I can't wait to see it. And part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. It's Shujin. Hi, welcome back to a very hot and muggy Western New York right now, and I'll kind of talk about that in a couple of seconds. At the moment, my only co-host from the Midwest of the U.S., Brigid Fitch, is able to make it. Hi.
Hi. I just wish I wish if Canadians were going to have forest fires, they'd be a little more courteous about it and throw some weed in there with it.
That, you know, I'll give you credit. That's actually that's the first joke I've heard about that like that. That's actually kind of funny.
It'd be nice of them to share.
No, no, it wouldn't. No, it
No.
wouldn't. No, no, because I know how people in my area of the world drive. No, no, that's no, no. Nobody wants that. Least of all me.
Just, just a thought. If you
It
have to
is.
deal with a particular matter, mind someone getting stoned.
It is. It makes for an interesting thing. And now I will explain a little bit further about that momentarily. So, all of you that are kind of wondering what the hell's going on, I'll explain in a second. Hi, good to be with you all, of course. If you decide that you're going to be joining us live, you can be part of the live chat over there. So thank you. Stephanie, good morning. Good to have you over here. Um, yeah, I haven't had the opportunity of checking up on the weather for you guys. But if it's anything like it's been the couple of weeks that we've dealt with, I really hope that you're doing okay with the heat and the humidity and the blah. On the bright side, 220 volts out of your mains, your fans must be very, very nice. I'm just gonna go with that. Just kind of go from there. Anyway, so for everybody else who's kind of wondering what we're talking about with the possibility of a contact high and such, the Canadian wilderness has been on fire for a while now. It's been going on for a bit, and we've kind of mentioned about it a couple of times. A couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I think it was really nasty with the soot that was coming around. There were pictures and orange cast to New York City, and people are just like, wow, man, this sucks. And other people on the left coast are like, guys, that's what LA used to be
Yeah.
daily. Don't know what you're all complaining about. That kind of sucks. Me, however, it's been a little bit on the weird side because remember, I am just over the water, if you will, from Canada. I would like to say I could throw a rock across the Niagara River and hit Canada, but my right arm would probably be accompanying the rock because there's no way I'd be able to throw quite that far. It's close. It's not that close. So when the wind swirls in an anti-clockwise fashion, I know that one's for you, Stephanie. Counterclockwise and anti-clockwise.
Widdershins.
The bad.
Widdershins.
I'm unfamiliar with that term.
It's another word for it. Pagan word.
Huh. Okay. when it has a left hand curve to it instead of a right hand curve, it swirls around into Chicago and the Great Lakes and then across the Great Lakes and then picks up the water vapor from the Great Lakes and all that smoke and soot and dust and humidity comes over into my neck of the woods. And then all of a sudden, I'm outside huffing and puffing, trying really hard to keep myself, from, I don't know, succumbing to black lung or something. So the last couple of days, I've most assuredly been putting on masks again while outside because, well, I mean, let's face it, you doing physical labor outside, the air quality index says unhealthy. It goes into like 100 plus territory, and I'm putting on a mask, man. There's no two ways in the matter. Because Brigid will tell me if I don't, she will not let me hear the end of it.
Yeah, we haven't even been outside the last 2 days because air quality's been bad.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna, take chances.
Yep.
It's not anything that pressing that we have to do. It can wait.
Yep, there is that. A couple of pieces. Stephanie's also saying the Canadian forest fire smoke reached the UK.
Oh, wow.
It's only high up, so we get pretty sunsets and a bit of color. And a bit cooler, sorry. So, okay.
That's interesting.
It is. I don't know what that might be doing to aircraft that might be flying, on the way out this way, because if it's that high up. But you know what? If nothing's fallen out of the sky, that's a good sign right there. And Phyllis made it. Hi, good evening, hon. Yeah, funny part about that. Phyllis didn't make it last week because last week was the International Field Day for ham radio operators. And I made that as part of my closing. And I told her about it during the week, and she's like, oh, I got to go see. Pulled it up and saw it, and yeah, was very happy. So, very glad I was able to do for my fellow Sparks. So we'll kind of go with that. And Stephanie's also pointing out, I remember when wearing masks was a safety concern and you did not have to fend off fanatics about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also remember when wearing a bandana over your face was to keep you from inhaling all the spray paint out of the rattle can. But, I'm out of my tagging phase these days. You know how it is. I never did anything even close to that. I don't have any artistic ability that way, so it is what it is. So
I can draw really good stick people.
Yeah. You know what? Sure, yeah. You kind of learn how to do that playing Hangman, but sure,
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's about the limit of my artistic abilities.
Join the club. Have you ever tried to figure out how to draw a tribble? It's deceptively complicated. The first time I was commissioning somebody to try to do it, they're just like, okay, I know what a tribble is. It's basically a basket. All right, your character is basically a basketball with fur. Why is this so hard to do? So, I don't know, man. It is a way that don't start with a basketball. Just start with fur. I got nothing to start from. Just you'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. It's fun. Anyway, so yeah, it's been like that. The last item that I can tell you guys about that's kind of good news, if you will. Oh crap! I forgot. I don't have any. I didn't bring a drink over. Forgot to do that. Well, anyway. At work. Yeah, I know I've kind of, for the most part, I kind of kept it under wraps for a little while. But at work, there's a platform, a scale, where we weigh things on. And what I mean, a platform for it, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's supposed to be weighing like big, heavy roller carts. And it was empty. I stepped on it. And it came up and it said I was 270 some odd. And the last I remembered having looked at the scale that I've got at home before I finally got disgusted and stopped was closer to 300 pounds. I know. I'm not doing it in kilos because it wasn't in kilos. Leave me alone. So, yeah, I think I'm actually burning off quite a bit of weight, and I'm very happy for that. Unless it's water that's I've been burning off, in which case, that could be a problem. But my eyes are still white; they're not yellow, so I should be doing okay. So that's good. And I bought myself a container of Tang, a big ass container of Tang, orange Tang. So, Tech, whenever I get the chance to talk to you, I am going to finally get rid of that mango flavored atrocity because I can't stand it anymore. I had no idea mixing equal amounts of mango and lemonade tang would result in just mango tang. I had no idea, and I've been adding it to my water and drinking like a lot because I can't stand just drinking straight water. I just don't like the taste of it. But then a little bit of this stuff just to give it some flavor, crappy flavor. Man. It's all right. You know what? Whatever. I'll have something. I'll have my spaceman orange drink to have from now on. So that's gonna be good.
Well, it's important to stay hydrated.
Very true. Very true. Um, and that's something for folks to really, really remember as best as possible. If you're worried about being overheated, drink water, drink however much you need to. If you need to take a cool shower to help you out, just don't make it cold. That's a bad idea. Going from one extreme to another is a really bad idea. Um, and drinking alcohol probably
Bad
not
idea.
probably a really bad idea. And don't overdo it on the coffee either. Caffeine bad, diuretic bad. Because when you suddenly turn into paper, that's a bad moment. It's a really bad moment.
Yep. Or if your urine happens to get really dark, that's bad too. It's a sign that you need a lot more water.
I know. I keep trying. I'm working on it. I'm trying to find that middle ground that balances everything. It's been kind of tough. I'm working on it. There was one of those 5-gallon sport bucket things for water so you could have a little spout on the front and refill stuff that
Mhm.
came in at the donation center. If it's still there come like Monday, Tuesday, yeah, I still have to work on 4th of July here in the US cuz
Mm.
cuz
Yeah.
um I'm thinking about buying it myself, cleaning that sucker out, like really big time cleaning that sucker out. And then, buy a thing of ice, mix some water in there, mix some drink mix to give it just a little bit of flavor and have it there for, all of us every day cuz why not?
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, it would be a really good idea, wouldn't it? Got nowhere to put it, but it'd be a really good idea. We can we can think.
I used to have one about that size that I took whenever we had, band marching practice after school.
Yeah, I remember those days. But then
And
again,
it
we
used to
were
get
young and
really
stupid,
hot.
so we wouldn't even
Well,
think about it, right?
I always took something, and it usually had ice in it because I didn't want to get dehydrated. And I lived down south, and it would get really humid and hot.
All right, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It was a little bit different for me up Long Island way, so that's what it is. Stephanie's also pointed out to every pint of water. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because a UK pint versus a US
Yes,
pint
pint.
versus, I don't know, maybe they've got a different one in Ireland because, I mean, their pint is like, what, it's like 3 foot long or whatever the hell it is. I don't, whatever. To every pint of water, Add quarter teaspoon of salt and 3 teaspoons of sugar. Level teaspoons. Stir well.
Yeah.
You know what? That's not so bad. That's got a lot going to it. I'll have to think about that.
Well, that's what Gatorade is, just with some flavoring.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually thought about getting a thing of Gatorade instead of Tang, but I mean, it's Tang. It's tradition. What can I tell you? I'm a creature of. Well, I'm not going to say I'm a creature of habit. I mean, I am, but I'm just thinking more in terms of I miss NASA. Anyway, there's a thing with that. I'll tell you about it later. How about I get things rolling, because I think we probably going to end up having a relatively short night, because if it's just the two of us, considering the topic, we'll deal. So let me go ahead and get that going. So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts now. Magic. Yeah, I know. Even though I didn't give you the actual show's name, just friendship. Anybody that knows me well enough knows full well, being the furry of the group, being a brony. I know, shut up, leave me alone. Friendship is magic. Okay. There is a piece to that. But it's a thing that has to do with brain chemistry and that kind of thing. And I'm gonna admit, I don't know nearly enough about how brain chemistry operates, and dopamine and adrenaline and bile, or whatever the hell it is that actually makes the brain meat, brain fat actually, do what it does. I don't get it. It's not something that I've studied, so I will admit complete ignorance on a good portion of it. Even though I have one and I operate it. I don't know. I don't have an owner's manual. It just does what it does because, somebody set it on its path and there it goes. The actual term magic, as far as to an action that we observe, is a misnomer. And we know it. There are people who have claimed to be magicians. There's some that do it tongue-in-cheek. And there are some that outright refuse to use the term. Penn and Teller being two of them. They do say that they are illusionists, that they are liars, and they will say this to the audience. You paid money for us to lie to you. So that's what we're going to do. And I respect them for that, because the term magic and magician, in what we deal with in reality, to the best of our knowledge currently, are people who are doing what's otherwise referred to as illusion work. They make you see what they want you to see and to ignore things that they want you to ignore. And it's a piece of social engineering. And it's fun. To a certain degree, it's fun, man. There are certain things that you can get away with. And it's just there. It's physical. You can, if you're actually filming somebody who's doing whatever the heck it is that they're doing, man, you can look it over and you can go, oh wow, they did that. Why did they do it like that? Because this was reverse engineered in order to make sure that this happens, that my eyes are over. Okay, that's actually really smart. That's cool. I wouldn't have thought about that. And that's exactly where the magic is. The magic being the beautiful part about knowing that there is no actual magic. There is no nose tweaking or crossing your arms and blinking and making things happen or not happen or disappear, reappear, whatever the case may be. We know that these performers are doing exactly that. It's performance. It's something that we don't know. We're not on the backside of the stage looking out to see how everything is working from our side. We can only see what it is that they're trying to show us. And it's fun. It's always been fun for me. I've known since I was a kid, magic isn't a thing. At least not the TV, movie magic. Real life magic, it doesn't happen. But how people are able to figure out how to put forward something that fools us, that deceives us, that's fun. Because the challenge is, did you fool me? And so many times. Oh, God, yeah. And the fact that I can't figure out, and it looks like it should be impossible to do, and I know that it's possible because it did, that's great. Sometimes I know full well what happened. Sometimes I can see what happened, and sometimes we can too. And other times where you just look at it, it's just nah, man. I don't know, and I love that. That in my brain is magical, fun, and it's not something that makes me upset because I know I'm not missing out on something. I know full well that there's no special way of making something just happen out of thin air. Somehow, someone put a lot of work into what they did, a lot of practice. I appreciate that because that is the magic. It's fun. So now's a good time to go and deal with the horrible scopes. Sounds good to you? Good, because it sounds good to me. Sorry, I kind of interrupted you there. That's kind of the way that works. Anyway, so it is time for the horrible scopes, because, that's part of the show that we're into. Those of you that know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, I've really just given up on you guys. Buy a D12 with the symbols on it and just roll it on a tabletop quietly, please. Quietly, don't throw it. Just do it. And you're going to have to memorize the symbols because I don't remember which is what. I don't care anymore. Now, if I had done a themed horrible scope, this is the part where I tell you about it. Yep, just right here. Except I didn't have near enough time to do what was suggested. A super special one-off character from Star Trek theme. I didn't have enough time to do it, so here we go. It's gonna have to be a boring set this week of me getting inspired from my music collection. Oh well. Aries, respectability is something you strive for. And with good reason. You want to be the asks permission type rather than the begs forgiveness one. But only because you have an ulterior motive. We're on to your little charade, Aries. You want to be able to get away with something big later. And we respect you for that level of planning. This week, practice your poker face again.
Wow, now I feel called out
Can't imagine why.
because I'm an Aries. Taurus, there ain't no stopping you now. After the last few weeks of crappy weather and air quality, it's time for you to be out there and learn how to water ski. Sure, the lake water's still cold, but that's just encouragement for you not to fall in. Just remember the first rule. When you fall, let go of the tow rope. This week, imagine what it's going to feel like if you don't let go and your eyes stay open. Spoilers, they're going to feel like they're literally floating in their sockets.
There's a story with these. There's always a story with these.
That would hurt.
It did. It did. Gemini, you want things to happen in a specific order with well-established cause and effect progressions because you are a creature of habit. But you know what? Some things will always happen no matter what you want. And this is a good thing. It means there is a power out there that you have no control over. Like gravity, nuclear fission, neutron star starquakes. This week, contemplate the vastness of the universe. Contemplate it. Feel how small you really are. and tremble and quake at your overall insignificance.
Cancer Moonchild. What was the last spy movie you watched? Believe it or not, it was 2016's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. You think it's not a spy movie? What's the premise? Work for a hostile power, get the secret plans, escape with them, and deliver them to the hostile power. Simple, right? This week, break out your Nerf Alpha Strike Clog QS4 blaster, keep it hidden in your belt, and take out your friends one by one, and drink your Grimace shake. Shaken, not stirred.
Don't drink the Grimace shake.
I never have.
Just don't. Just don't. The idea that they went ahead and they made this promotion over there at McDee's in order to make a Grimace shake, just to find out that the shake machine is working. Okay, that's nice. The ice cream machines that we're working on, guys. The ice cream machines. You know that there's a website out there that actually tracks which McDonald's have working and non-working ice cream machines at every day.
That's funny.
That's sad. Leo, English sucks. I mean, the expression, how do you do? Do what exactly? Do the do, like in the advertising campaign? Otherwise, it just sounds like an unfinished interrogative sentence. Interrogative. Why am I saying it with a C instead of a... That's my fault. I can't talk today. My elocution is for shit. Leave me alone. English is a linguistic thief, shanking other languages in a dark alley, leaving them damaged but still alive, rifling their pockets for anything of value, including anything that they can find, including lint, then running away. This week, I don't know, man. Just learn how to say hello in 3 different languages and make it real languages this time. None of that Lord of the Rings crap. Please.
Hey, I can. Virgo. This week you'll have luck beyond your wildest dreams. Cars will avoid hitting you, birds will miss dropping stuff on you, and horses won't step on your foot. Want to have it proven? Find your jigsaw puzzle, shake it up and down hard for 20 seconds, then open it. You'll find that parts of the puzzle will have actually fallen into place. This week, realize that the puzzle you tried to do that wasn't your puzzle. It's got agency and purpose of life. It's got feelings. Stop thinking everyone is your plaything.
Yeah. Libra, remember when you played Little League baseball as a kid? How much fun it was to be up at bat swinging for the fence every time. But when you switched sides, where were you placed? Yep, right field. And what did you do? Watched the dandelions grow. Because Little Leagues don't have lefties that pull. So this week, get back to your roots and make some dandelion wine. Or dandelion salad. You know, just chew grass.
Scorpio, you need to learn how to maximize your spending these days. Can you tell the difference between a real diamond and a cubic zirconia? Yeah, no, you can't. A real diamond is about $7,000 a carat. Cubic zirconia is more like $30 per carat, and you can buy them in bulk. This week, just buy all the fake stones, enjoy throwing your fake bling around, and find out who your real friends are.
I was looking up this stuff and like little like sub 2 millimeter cubic zirconia, like a bag of 1,000 of them, like $30. And I'm just looking at this thing and I'm thinking, you know who would pay for their meal with something like that and try to get away with it? The Sheik, Jamie Farr's character from Cannonball Run. I could see that. That'd be funny as hell. Sagittarius, your neighbor is having a party this week and you are invited. So bring on your casserole and potato salad, but please, please, please remember that you are not going to blow anyone away by adding raisins to it. So
Ew.
please just. Okay, look. Your great aunt Mildred's recipe might be the best you've ever had, but we're not your family. This week, buy and follow a cookbook's recipe.
Capricorn, you get to be the final arbiter of opinion for the professional firework displays. Should they be just whatever, meaning just set them off in the way that just feels fun, or should they be synced to a musical score, so like to some popular musical song? Or should a 25 minutes collection of stuff just all be set off at once, lighting up the skies like an active war zone, blowing it all in under 1 minute? And remember, this was done once already. And if you choose wrong, we're all coming after you with Roman candles built into phaser rifle replicas. So choose wisely.
I would love to be able to do that, but man, the possibility of lighting stuff on fire is just too damned high. It's too damned high. And they don't let you back into the hotel after you've done that once or twice. I don't know, whatever. Something about setting off alarms or whatever. I mean, they needed to be tested once a year anyway, right? Aquarius, the electrical junction box in your house used to be called the fuse block. Those things were death traps just waiting to happen. And you know why? Okay, for you youngins, the fuses in these things were threaded screw-ins, kind of like the bottom of a light bulb. And in the dark, you were expected to be able to figure out which one had blown, unscrew it, find the right replacement, and screw that one back in. You know what people used to do instead? Yeah, they used to press a penny into the bottom to bypass the 20 amp fuse with a 600 amp hunk of metal. This week, check your pockets for pennies and throw them at the seagulls as you eat Burger King outside, because that's about all they're worth for anymore. I went trying to look up information on pennies, how much power you could put through them before they, turn into, what's the word I'm looking for? No longer penny. I couldn't find a number.
They don't have copper in them anymore.
It doesn't matter.
And they're just junk.
Yeah, they don't, but they can, zinc will still conduct, but how much before it suddenly becomes no longer penny, I wasn't able to find.
And I know you looked really hard. Did you do your research?
I did.
Sees. Math, hard. Philosophy, convoluted. Chemistry, dangerous. Physics, counterintuitive. Dean's List, achievable. You'll make it if you've studied and interned in computer science. You'll know how to edit the student records database if you look up the XKCD comic and look for the input on how a database gets dumped. Good luck, Joshua.
There's some people that know exactly the comic that just went by with that, and yeah, y'all had yourselves a good laugh at that. It's all fun and games until the database gets wiped again. Reminding you again, those are your horrible scopes for this week. Remember, if you like what you got, I don't care anymore. You people just piss me off every time. I'm not supposed to say that part out loud anymore. I'll talk to my therapist about that one. I'll have these posted at the end of the week as usual. Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, whatever is still functional, because some of them are more functional than others, because that's kind of the way that it works. And by the
Elon Musk is a tool.
I'm not even gonna, yeah. And I wanna kind of back up just a little bit. Libras about playing Little League and being in right field. For those of you that have never heard the song is called Right Field by Peter, Paul, and Mary. I highly encourage folks, go listen to that song because it's adorable, it's fun, and if you watch the video of it, of Paul Snooki performing it, it's absolutely wonderful. He hams it up like crazy for the kids because that's exactly what it's for, and it's so much fun. Just seriously, look it up. This is episode 456 on the Docket Runner. Friendship. So yeah, like I said, friendship, magic. So actual friendship for a minute, because it is, as we record this, it is July 2nd. And as we know, some of us know, July 1st is Canada Day. July 4th is American Independence Day. For those of you who are on my side of the border with Canada, please remember, everybody has 4th of July. Not everybody has Independence Day on the 4th of July. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the whole, moment here, because there are too damned many of my countrymen who are just annoying about this because they just don't get it. It's really annoying because they just don't get it. I don't know. Anyway, so we're gonna kind of talk about this just a little bit, because there are things about this that are really cool. Some things that are kind of okay, but the idea of this is, obviously, it's kind of important to me, and I wanted a fluff piece because I've had a hard week and my brain's been very test patterny across the frontal lobe. Frontal lobe is the one for like all the like day-to-day conscious activity, isn't it?
I think so.
I think so. You know what? I'm gonna go with that because that's where my coffee finally ends up when all is said and done. I'm going with that story, and I don't care if it's counterintuitive to anybody. I just really don't care. Stephanie's pointed out, Elon Musk is a Russian tool. It's possible.
He's a disinfo agent, that's for sure.
That's possible. I would much rather say that he's a tool. Just as far as that, he's just a tool who wants to be big man, doesn't know how to do it. He is the guy that wants to grab the hand blender and put the beater sticks in there and then turn it on and bring it closer and closer to everybody's head and just I'm not touching you. Yeah, because he's just that kind of tool. He's that level of tool to me. But that's my opinion. You've got yours. And what the truth really is, I am not at liberty to discuss because I don't know enough because, well, I like having my opinion more. Which is probably a bad thing to do, but I mean, it is what it is. It's fun to hate on somebody just for emotional reasons sometimes, because then if somebody finally says, well, here's the reality, I can go, oh, okay, now I have new information. And I could probably end up hating on him more. So, or not, depending as to what goes on. I'm going sideways from everything.
I'm upset with what has happened today on Twitter.
Yep. I'm on board too.
And if I can find out where all of the journalists that I follow are going to, then I'm going to go wherever they go. Because that's usually, that's what I use Twitter for, is to keep up with news and what's going on in Ukraine. And if I can't do that anymore, then I'm not going to stay.
That's fair. That's fair. So in this case, friendship is referring specifically to the Friendship Festival, which for a long time I thought was an internationally agreed upon thing. between the US and Canada. For me only to find out, as I'm doing my research for this show earlier, about, 12-ish hours ago, that the Friendship Festival was actually just a promotional kind of thing between the Western New York / Buffalo area and the Fort Erie, Ontario area. So, down my neck of the woods, the Friendship Festival was just a local thing. It wasn't a complete border thing, and I thought it was. And the official for this festival has ended several years ago. Now, 2019, I believe, was the last year it happened. But as far as I'm concerned, Friendship Festival goes on anyway. At least in my own head and my heart, because the friendship that the US and Canada shares with its border is really kind of remarkable. It is the longest. I'm trying to remember what the correct title for it is. It is the longest international border without active guarding, I guess is the correct way of putting it. And by active guarding, I mean there's no military presence making sure people don't go on either side of the border that they're not supposed to. There are checkpoints, there's border crossing guards, because border crossings, of course, is going to be. But we don't have concerns about invasion either way. Well, not since 1812, and they apologized, so it's all good. It's all good. It's fine. Is what it is. We rebuilt the executive manor, so that's good on our part, I suppose.
It's no longer pink, so that's good.
Yeah. So guys, thank you for doing that. At least we appreciate that. By the way, now I have to back up just a little bit. Brigid, Stephanie had said, can I recommend Ukraine Matters for news on Ukraine that is not just flashbang stuff and violent videos?
I do listen to those videos. I love Georgie.
Fair enough.
Georgie's my homeboy.
Fair enough.
And Stephanie knows who I'm talking about.
Okay. I would very much like it for the drone drops that have happened from Ukrainian air drones and dropping stuff. I would really much like for them to be flashbangs instead. Now, I'm saying that from the standpoint of I know. When war is involved, you don't go nice on the enemy, because you just don't. But I would really, really like it if it were just a matter of being able to drop one on a group of, kids, basically, sub 20-year-olds, and put the fear of death into them so that they just go, you know what, this isn't worth it. I'm willing to surrender now. Thank you. Just a thought. I know it don't work that way, but it'd be nice, wouldn't it? What would it cost? A couple of blown out eardrums. That'd be really nice, But again, it's just me. I know it can't happen that way.
Well, this is for Stephanie, but in case she wasn't aware, but she probably is aware, Ukraine Matters has a Discord channel as well.
Cool. Maybe we should somebody make sure that they you know what, Brigid, if you can drop a note for later, or just keep a running tally of stuff that we need to add to the show notes so that we can do that, so that people can see.
Yeah.
So the border between the United States and Canada, it's, well, I always think of it as just that parallel that goes sweeping through the Great Lakes, and well, it kind of meanders with the Great Lakes, because that's kind of the way that international borders work when you're dealing with water. Because it just works out that way. But I always keep forgetting that there's that section up the top left-hand corner of the continent with Alaska. So, you know, it's a really, really long line of demarcation between our two countries. And the idea that you could figuratively, well, literally, step across the border from the US into Canada and see what the immense difference is from one country to the other, it's absolutely flabbergasting. And I say that because I remember not too very long ago literally walking across the border bridge from Niagara Falls into Niagara Falls, Ontario. That sounds vaguely familiar. I'm pretty sure I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did that and somebody else was there too.
Yep.
Hmm.
Arno was there.
Yes.
I was too.
Yes. And we had fun. We had a
And we
good
got
time.
soaked.
A little bit. A little bit. But we had a good time.
Yeah,
We
we did.
okay, the idea that we were able to literally walk across the bridge from Niagara Falls, New York to Niagara Falls, Ontario for what was it, like 15 cents? I think
Like that.
something like that a person, as opposed to, like $3.54 US per car. Oh, okay, you know what? Fair deal. But just could. I mean, there's so little to worry about, and just come back over, go across, buy a couple of things. Um, we one of the shops that we stopped at, by the way, over in on the Ontario side, if I remember right, had I forget what it was filled with, but it was basically it was a giant bottle of alcohol. I forget which it was, mounted on a stand so that it would, if you grabbed the neck of it, you could tilt the whole thing and pour out some and then put it back. It was heavy. I don't remember what it was, but it was heavy. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, why is this in the duty free shop so that you could walk across the I don't see anybody walking across the bridge with one of these in a bag that's going to survive, unless they've got one of those giant blue IKEA bags, because those things will survive damn near anything. But it's great. We can go back and forth, as we please, and just enjoy the scenery on both sides. The Canadians come over because sometimes they do shopping, because they can get stuff on our side that they can't get on theirs, and we kind of do the same thing. I've done it many a time coming back from Toronto, stop in St. Catharines, so about 20 minutes away from the border, and buy some stuff from Real Canada Superstore, grocery place, and come back with flavored chips of all descriptions,
Mm-hmm.
and then just come across the border. Here's my passport. Here's my son's passport. What's your residency? U.S. Where do you live? Down there. Where did you go? Toronto. Okay. Welcome home. Have a good night. Because coming back at 3 a.m. I mean, what's the border guard really going to be doing? Are you really going to give everybody a hard time about it? No. You're just going to 3 o'clock in the morning. Who's screwing around? But it's really cool. With us, for a long time, between the US and Canada, all you really needed was your passport. Sorry, no, your driver's license, I should say, or some other form of ID as you're coming across the border. For a long time, that's really all it was. Although technically, you really should have had a passport. But between the two of us, it was like, who cared? And for a lot of years with the U.S., there were a number of places where that's pretty much all it was. If I remember right, back in the '60s, I think Bermuda allowed you to go down there with just a driver's license as a form of official identification. So the idea that we've had these borders, and I say multiple borders because over across multiple areas of land versus water, and we don't think anything of it. We really don't. And I want to make the comparison to something that we we grew up through the time of, and forgive me for putting it this way, kids today don't appreciate it the same way. And I'm going to throw it your way, Brigid, for your thoughts and your remembrances on it. We grew up during the time when the Cold War was still very, very much a hot and heavy thing, if you'll pardon the mixing the phrases. And we had
Hmm.
East versus West Berlin and the
Yeah,
Berlin Wall.
yeah. I remember doing that was like one of the first book reports I ever had to do was on the Berlin Wall. I think that was third grade.
It's the end of World War II and divvying up who's got responsibilities over what with Germany. And the USSR decided that they wanted to basically wall off their section of Germany from everybody else to keep control over the whole thing. So it was I don't remember exactly what it was, a cinder block or whatever. It was basically concrete wall, literally,
With
bar
guards.
with guards, with orders to shoot, with I was gonna say barbed wire, but it could have been razor wire. It was barbed wire. Let's just call it that, because I mean, who really thinks about the difference between barbed wire and razor wire? It's effectively the same damn thing. And you were not supposed to. You were not supposed to do.
Did not cross.
And I know it's fiction, but there is a scene from the TV series The West Wing where the Bartlett's daughter is going to get married, and of course, going to be married in the White House because I mean, come on, you can't do it any other way. When you're president, that's what you do. And President Bartlett reminds, uh, tells his daughter about how he was remembering the time when they were in West Germany, West Berlin, and she's like 5 years old, and she pulled away and she ran into the into the I don't remember what the term for it was, the no man's land or whatever. And it was supposed to have been a spot where if you are not authorized to be crossing, you would be shot. And that's hardly an exaggeration. There was a very demarcated part where if you're in there, nah, man, you forget it. You're just done. And even though it was a story, everybody was scared out of their mind. And little Bartlett girl, just 5 years old, walked over into that area, looked up at the guard up in the tower, and waved, as little kids do, because just hi, stranger, hi. And instead of shooting, again, knowing full well it's fiction, just soldier up there just waved back. And like I said, I know it's fiction, but we know full well there are children who they don't they don't see ideologies, they don't see color, they don't see politics, they don't see anything except you're a person. Hi, we've never met. and that's it. Yeah, it's innocence to an incredible level, but kind of it's kind of heartwarming to think that in a way we kind of do have that with the border that we've got. I don't know if you, Brigid. I don't know if you've ever taken a look at some of the area along the border on like Google Maps to see um, what some of these areas look like, where it's just out in rural area and it's just a simple 2 lane road, like it could be somebody's residential road that goes up to basically a toll booth shack, and it's Canada on one side, it's the U.S. on the other, and there's like a little swing down arm that separates the two, and it's like, yeah, okay, you're authorized on the other side. Okay, here you go on through. It's like a nothing thing.
I've never seen that in person,
I haven't either, but like I
but we
said,
were going to move someplace that was very much like that. There's a place in Washington State called Blaine, and it's really close to the border, and it's a smaller town.
and it's this,
But
and it's the same kind of thing where it's just, just a residential street, and you just go up and you're on one side, and all of a sudden you're on the other.
yeah,
That is really cool. I think it's really cool. Folks want to take a look and see what it looks like. Just again, Google Maps, zoom all the way down, get down to street level view, and just take a look at it. It's so much of that is just so adorable to me. Now, the reason why, kind of going with this, is that a lot of times, if you want to go from one country to another, there are certain protocols you have to follow. You need a passport. You need, well, depending as to what's going on, you need proof of medical stuff, vaccinations, inoculations, that kind of thing, depending as to what's going on. And sometimes you need to be in touch with the consulate for a country that you want to get pre-approved, get a visa. And there are certain benefits that can come with that. When my wife and I were going to go to Japan, we got a visa, and because of that, we were able to get a massive discount on the Japan rail line, so that we could just take the trains for a highly discounted rates, which was huge, great, let me tell you. But it's only in recent memory that things like that have kind of been working in the European Union, where you don't need quite as much formality. Now, I don't know the actual ins and outs of it, because I've honestly and truly I've never really looked into it. But if you're in the EU, if memory serves, I'd heard that somebody had visited England, decided that they were going to take the tunnel to France so that they could go have lunch in Italy and then dinner in Germany and then drive home. And completely doable with just a modicum of planning. I love that. You could just go, and you don't have to worry about who's aiming what at you from one country to the other. And fortunately, we've got a similar thing here with Canada. We don't have to worry too much about it, and we share so much in the line of information and culture and language. Fortunately, well, for the most part, I love the idea that we could be just sharing a birthday cake between the two of us, figuratively speaking. I miss having a shared holiday. I hate that Friendship Festival was just a promotional kind of thing because it was great. There was shared fireworks displays. There were the Thunderbirds, the oh god, the Blue Angels, and the Snowbirds would perform. And for those of you that are unaware, for whatever reason, you know what? I'm talking too much. Brigid, you explain who those three groups are.
I have no idea who the Snowbirds are. I'm
I'm
guessing they're
gonna,
Canadian.
I'm gonna kick your ass if you
I'm
can't
guessing that
figure it
they're
out.
Canadian Air Force.
I'm gonna kick your ass if you don't figure it out from the two that I gave you on from our military.
Oh, I know who the Thunderbirds are, and I know who
Yeah,
the Blue Angels are.
yeah. What are they?
Blue Angels is Air Force,
Yes.
and Thunderbirds is, I'm going to say Army.
And what is it that they do?
They fly.
And
They're
what is it?
fire. They do air shows.
So, putting them into the same category, the Snow Angels would be
Canadian Air Force.
that. What do they do? Come on,
Air,
come on, come on.
air shows.
There. You're killing me. I put them all together into one bucket for you. Come on, man. Yeah, that's
There's
exactly.
like a DDoS attack on my brain, okay?
That's fine. It's fine. It's late too. I know what it's. Yeah, man. They would do air shows, and you know, and it was just fun. It's just fun. As somebody pointed out, we have a thing over here in the U.S. where we just love our gunpowder. Ooh, that's a little painful because
The fireworks are pretty, though.
yeah, yeah, because the person was making a really good flip of the coin kind of thing. Because yeah, we do. Oh shit, yeah, that's hmm.
Oh, it's terrible for the environment, but they're so pretty.
And I've been finding out that there are new displays at night that have been happening with drones, fleets of drones being computer controlled with lights on them so that they do different designs and fly formations and whatnot. There was one that came through my feeds recently that I don't remember if it was China or where it was an Asian area country. And this fleet of drones was doing in reds and yellows and whites a flying Asian dragon in the sky,
Ooh.
swirling and turning, and blew my mind. Because I know I've seen the demos of fleets of drones, being computer controlled to do different designs in the sky. Because black on a blue or white background because sky, but to see them lit up like that and do the thing, and so much better for so many people and animals with PTSD and us scared of loud bangy.
Yep, that's my husband.
Canada Day celebrates Canada becoming its own formed country, not independent, but as a unified Canada, because previously it had been three separate areas that comprised the what we think of as Canada today. American Independence Day, July 4th, 4th of July, is celebrating the day that we decided as the colonies that we were, because it's what it was, we were the colonies. We weren't a formed country by any measure of anybody. And we signed off on a Dear John letter. Well, Dear George. letter, I guess, is probably more appropriate, and said, "Yeah, that's it. We're done. Goodbye." And it didn't hold any sway legally for anything. It was just a, we're gone. Um, leave your key under the mat and just go away. And the two celebrations couldn't be any more different for what they represent. Canada actually forming, the US not really forming so much as just kicking the King George to the curb. But yet it's still important for both of our countries because in a way they were both unifying moments, and rightly so. So I've I've talked on a lot. I'm really hoping that I'm not exactly meandering too far
Oh,
off.
you're fine.
That's,
This is supposed to be a fluff show anyway, so
that's
go
true.
for it.
That's true. One of the things that we grew up with, oh, I almost forgot. One of the things that we grew up with was something called Schoolhouse Rock.
Yep.
We've talked about Schoolhouse Rock. Those of you who are listening, even though a portion of Schoolhouse Rock was specifically America rock, Schoolhouse Rock is worthy. It's really worth, looking over, acquiring the DVD of one of the anniversary sets because a lot of the stuff is it's just good stuff. It's just good stuff. But there's a section or two. Well, America Rock was the name for a couple of the videos that were done that were specifically about, obviously enough, America and pieces of its history and how it was put together. Things like No More Kings, which was a very romanticized version of how things worked with the Declaration of Independence. Another one called Fireworks, again, which kind of falls into the same category. And there's another one, and I'm wondering how well you remember this one, Brigid. The one that was called The Great American Melting Pot.
I remember that one.
What do you remember? What kind of gleans onto you from that one or any of the other ones in that collection in particular?
Oh, one of my favorite ones was I'm Just a Bill. And he looked so lonely.
Well, he was. And
But I had forgotten about No More Kings until you mentioned it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that one.
yeah, Schoolhouse Rock is just so good.
Yep, I think a lot of kids these days are missing out from not seeing it.
Yeah, which is of course one of the reasons why I keep mentioning it whenever I get an opportunity to because I mean, come on. Schoolhouse Rock and The Princess Bride. After that, you know what? You've got your childhood ready for you. Just keep going from there. So growing up, we didn't exactly learn very specifically about Canada. I mean, we knew it was there. We might have had a couple of tests on geography about the provinces, territories, and promptly forgot about it because when the hell would we ever go there? Schoolhouse Rock didn't cover anything really outside the U.S. and until you got to space, and then space was cool. Interplanet Janet. Look that one up.
Yeah, that one was cool. But some of it still applied, like the one that was on, conjunctions and adverbs and
Yeah,
adjectives.
yeah. Um, English rock. Is that what it was? Yeah, I think that's what that particular group was. English rock, multiplication rock, science
Yep.
rock, multiplication rock, science rock, English rock. Still very relevant and still fun. It's obviously I was gonna say obviously it sounds dated from the music, but you know what? I don't really feel that it ever did feel dated. I mean, these things were made in the from the late '70s into the early '80s, mid '80s, I should say. But I don't think they ever really felt like they were truly part or really nailed into that time frame. The only one that could was Verb. Verb. That's what's happening because it
Yeah.
was very much
That was very 70s.
it was very '70s funk soul. But even so, it still felt just it just felt right. It had that bop to it. But America Rock also had one song that was in there that was, I mean, it was fun. It was a fun song. It was an upbeat song. It was great until I got to thinking about it later as I'm thinking about how things have been over the last couple of years. I'll call it 10 years because of the way that we've seen how things have played out. And that was a song called Sufferin' Till Suffrage. And it was all about the 19th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Really important. It was really important because, again, I'm talking on this one. Do you specifically remember that song and that piece also?
I'm not sure.
It's been so long, and you don't have you don't have a DVD copy of it, do you?
No, no.
That's okay.
I mean, it sounds familiar. I could not remember the words to it or anything. I think I
Well,
remember some of the cartoon pictures,
chances are, if you were to hear the music, you probably would start to
but it
remember it.
would come back. Yeah, it
Yes,
would come back.
because it was
But it's
that
been
good.
an awfully long time.
Suffrage Until Suffrage was about the 19th Amendment, which codified that, not in the best way, that women were equally available and had the right to vote in elections across the country. It was a national thing. And it hurts me all these years later after seeing it because, like I said, it really upbeat, lot of fun, because it had to be done in the first place and it just wasn't self-evident.
Well,
And
there'd be some people now that would say it's still not self-evident. They want to take that back.
yeah, yeah. And as much as I've joked about it before, there are so many things where the question of, are equal rights really supposed to happen for this specific group? And Canada came down with the, and again, I'm romanticizing it a little bit. I'm highly, readers digesting it. Okay, on the matter of, should same-sex couples be permitted to marry and have all of the rights and privileges otherwise given to others who get married who are of different sexes. I know, genders, just bear with me a second. Okay, yes, Sexes, yes. Genders, yes. It's a whole big old mixed match of it all. I know. I'm trying to make it simple. And the Canadian Parliament basically said, is there anything against it? No. Okay, I guess they do. All right, motion passed. What's next? And then here in the US, we had to bring it up all the way through the courts to say, yes, I exist. I'm a real person. I deserve to have all the rights and privileges of everybody the hell else because I am an American citizen in the United States. Well, we don't think that you should. The fuck you say? And then have to take it into court and litigate it all the way up to literally the Supreme Court, who finally had to say, yes, same-sex couples are permitted to marry and have all the rights and privileges that their otherwise heterosexual couples are permitted to have. We are a weird group between the two of us, Canada and the US. There's so many things that maybe we get right, maybe we get wrong, and it flip-flops between the two sides. But I like the idea that we still interact because friends help each other. They influence each other. They make them ultimately better people. I hope. I would really like for there to be more interaction feeding from Canada into the US. The other way around like it's been. I would really like that. Let's start by making poutine one of those things that comes across the border more often. That should really happen more often, especially in the winter.
Oh yeah.
The winter up on the northern states. Oh yeah, we need that more.
I was trying to explain to my mom what poutine was, and she's like, "That sounds disgusting." And I'm like, "You watch your mouth."
You know, Ma. You know me, Ma. The sausage gravy to folks up north sounds like it's just an artery clogger waiting to jump into your throat. Because why would anybody want to ever voluntarily put grease into their bodies like that? And I'm sure she'd probably just, what?
I make really good sausage gravy now. Actually, had somebody in Indianapolis when we lived there ask me to bring it in one time because we were doing a breakfast thing. And yeah, me being the only Southerner that was up there, they were like, "We know that you know how to make it. Can you please bring some?"
Stephanie, just to let you know, yes, I have been reading and keeping up on it. It's just a question of what I've been able to weave into everything all. And she had mentioned, I'm kind of backtracking just a little bit because I'm getting to the piece that was over here. Talking about how I heard about driving from England to France to Italy to Germany and then home for whatnot. Said that's what it's like in the that's what it's like in the EU. I went to France and Spain before the nonsense of Brexit, and it was show your passport and carry on. So it was just
Yeah.
so just to clarify, was it literally a matter of yep, passport, here we go, okay, on you go? Because that's what I'm expecting it to be. Just to prove that you've got one. Maybe flip it open to say it's you on there. Okay, cool. Um,
Yeah, we're sorry about Brexit.
yeah,
I mean, it's awful.
yeah, and it was sold to the right people at the right way, and some people will just buy a shit sandwich just because they can, because it was marketed. And the reason why I was getting to this is that when I was talking about how same-sex couples being allowed. I can't believe I even have to say it that way. Allowed to be married legally, had said, and that is another thing SCOTUS is looking to take away at the first opportunity, amongst other things.
Yep.
We'll kind of sidetrack on this one really quickly, and it's away from the piece, but there's rumbling that some people have been saying that if Donald Trump is indicted and found guilty under the Espionage Act and such, the possibility of tracing back funding, bribery, let's call it what it is. If that can be traced all the way back to the Supreme Court vacancies that were filled, what are the possibilities of recalling those justices and replacing them?
Probably not good.
Probably not good, because we never have anticipated something like that. The idea sounds reasonable.
But I don't think there's any way to do that.
No,
There's
no legal mechanism for that other than, go ahead.
other than if we ended up getting control of the House again and then get 2/3 of the Senate, could impeach some justices
Which,
or expand the court.
I've already said before, I'm totally on board for the expansion of the court. I'm
Yeah.
heavily in favor of that.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
We have
Because
13 districts.
and 9 Supreme Court justices. I still like my idea. There should be one Supreme Court justice presiding over each of the court districts, and they convene in Washington to handle the most pressing items from each of their respective districts. Now, is that feasible? I don't know. I don't care. That's the way that I would like to do it. And when I make my own country with blackjack and hookers, that's the way that I'm going to do it. And Puerto Rico, yeah, should be its own state. Thank you very kindly. Yeah. Washington, D.C. should be its own state. I know why it's not, but I don't believe that has any bearing any longer. Things change. And anybody that wants to say, well, you can't rescind stuff out of the Constitution, or you can't change out of it, bullshit. That's what amendments are for. We've already had one amendment that was countermanded by another. Remember prohibition? Of course you don't, you idiots. But that's a whole other thing.
Yep, that was the 21st amendment.
Honest and truly, I really don't remember which it was.
I think the 21st is the one that overturned prohibition, I think.
It could be, and far as I'm concerned, it was stupid. It was stupid on the face of it. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. So, yes, it is entirely possible for there to be stupid changes to the Constitution. And fortunately, it is also possible to correct for those, but
it's hard.
It's tough. Like I said, that's why I really like when there's crossover, where we get to see how the other half lives. The guys in Canada, well, Dalan has put it, it's like living over the meth lab downstairs from you and trying really hard not to do anything about it. Because what can you really do? And then there's us who are kind of living in another part of the apartment not with the meth lab, and kind of looking around and kind of, can we move in with you?
Yeah.
I want there to be more fun. I want there to be fewer times where we have to worry about some country or other doing something stupid to another, and that the borders can just be respected as this is where we are, this is where you are. Good enough. And that's it. Shake hands, gentleman's agreement, write it down on a piece of paper. But it doesn't seem to last that way for very long. Well, anyway, like I said, I'm glad that I had the chance to see what Friendship Festival was supposed to be. I'm sorry it's gone as an official thing. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to keep it in my heart because we do have that kind of relationship, politically speaking, between the US and Canada. When things are going wrong, we've helped each other out. And if people ever want to say, well, when the hell did Canada ever do anything really significant for the US? I will remind them. 2001, they accepted hundreds of flights that were otherwise going to be grounded. They have helped out when there were snowstorms, tried their damnedest to do what they could. And then let's not forget, there was that little thing that they did in Tehran in the 70s. They got people out that were otherwise being held hostage. But that in and of itself is a whole big muck. Because we found out what we'd always suspected for a long time, that part of the release of the hostages in Tehran, Iran, was back-channel backstabbery going on between Ronald Reagan's campaign and the people who were holding the hostages. Before I end up closing tonight and giving Brigid her opportunity, I'm going to throw my fuck you in the ring to Ronald Reagan's rotting corpse. Just because. And I'm really running out of steam over here, and I think I may be pretty done at the moment. Uh, what what items did you have left over that you'd like to kind of pass along and kind of let us know? Because I mean, I'm thinking in terms of, you know, Fourth of July celebrations, barbecue, food, drink, drunk, boating. I mean, anything that kind of gives you happy for the next couple of days. Thinking back,
Well, I was really glad that you got a chance to come up and visit me when I was visiting Arno. And that really was a good time. But it was kind of cool that, we were all wearing red ponchos on the Canadian side, and the American side was wearing blue, and you could wave across water.
yep, yep. That's how it's been for a very long time, by the way. That the American Maid of the Mist is blue ponchos, and the Canadian side is red.
But that was a cool trip. And I'm really glad that we got to do that. But as far as the 4th of July, I mean, I used to love having the barbecues when I was growing up and seeing the fireworks and stuff. But this year I'm not doing anything. I'm just the former guy ruined things for me. Um, there's no way I would ever put out a flag until we get the stench of him gone. Ruin that for me too. And all the desecration of my flag, the one that I served under, it hurts.
I get you. I get you. As a last item onto that one, when we got our house built here, my wife's father, and I've talked about him, that he was a cook, U.S. Army, occupation force, Japan, and how my mother-in-law eloped with him from Japan, which, as I've said before, that's you just don't do that. She did. Dad bought us a little American flag to put on the front. I've still got it. I haven't put it out in a very long time. It's still wrapped next to the front door, so that maybe one day I'll be able to put it out again. But we had also bought for ourselves 2 more flags to put on either side. One for me, the Italian flag, and one for my wife, the Japanese flag. Because most of my heritage is from Japan. No surprise. And you think about it, half of my wife's is Japanese, directly. So if anyone ever says, aren't you just American? Unless you are Native American, no, man, you're from somewhere else. Your family was from somewhere else. They came over, man. I am proudly an Italian American. My kid, mostly Italian American, but partly Japanese American. He's got some in his face that shows it. My wife, she never really thought about it, but technically Japanese American. And you know what? I am proud to have that moniker because I share what little culture I have of Italian with being a member of this society. And I'm glad for it. The Great American Melting Pot is exactly what that should be. Doesn't always work that way, but damn, be really nice. And I know for Canada, they don't always try to hold up to that as a formal thing, but they really do a hell of a lot better than we do in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We are gonna end off over here, but talking with my mom some little while back, I had asked her about where her sister, my aunt, used to live in Brooklyn, where where it was because I was trying to, track down some of the area, the places that we used to visit when we would, spend a weekend out there, my brothers and I. And up the top of the block, there was a pizza place. Oh God, I just love it. Just go up there, sit at the counter. We all get a slice, massive slice of pizza, as only Brooklyn can do. And then a few blocks over, there was a magic shop, believe it or not. And all the usual cutesy little things, the little cute gun that pops open with the cloth that opens up, bang, stuff like that. And I went looking on Google Maps and Street View and looking around the area and whatnot, and was talking with my mom about it, about some of the places that were there, and she said how that used to be considered like, not exactly formally, but kind of like a little Italy kind of thing, mostly Italians in the area, and that now it has become much more. I forget what area, but much more African countries in overall. I forget which countries in particular that she had mentioned, and I had joy in me from that, believe it or not. Because yeah, I'm sorry to see that the pizzeria's gone. Yeah, all right, the magic shop's gone. Yeah, okay, but cultures come in. They always have. As much as groups have been very, you know, Italians not welcome here, or everyone permitted to apply to a job except for the Irish, the Germans be gone, whatever the hell it was. There's always been waves of new people, of new cultures, of new ways of talking, new languages, new music. I find joy in that. And I'm so glad that New York City, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, Jersey, the whole area just keeps morphing into new things. There's a certain beauty in that. I don't ever want that to end. I just wish people would just remember that that's how it's always been and just chill the hell out. Stop trying to hurt each other. Look at me. Getting myself I'm getting myself emotional again, man. This isn't supposed to be happening like this. It's tears of happy for a change though, so that's really good. Um, Steffi, I'll add that in a minute. I think I've got more than enough. Anything last that you think we should just add at this point?
I can't think of anything
Sounds fair.
other than who my big fuck you is going to be
Well,
this week, but
we're gonna add
we're
to
not
that.
there yet.
We're gonna add to that in just a second. So yeah, let's go ahead and give it a close. So everybody, thank you for being with us as always. Hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and got something to think about for the week ahead. Stephanie, thank you. Felis, I know that you're out there somewhere because you would do that because that's kind of the way that it worked. And what I was said was that we're going to have to add to it. So Brigid, Stephanie had said, where is it over here? Can I add Margaret Thatcher to that FU?
Sure.
I don't have any idea why you would necessarily want to, but I'm sure that there's something in there somewhere that would probably make me think it's probably a good idea. So, sure, why not? Any opportunity to shovel shit on people that have been just shitty to other people, I don't see any reason why we should turn that away. And Felis, your caps lock is on again. Let's figure out how to drop that. So, who do you want to FU at this point? And I'll give you a freebie because I mean there's always an easy one.
I'm going to say 6 of the SCOTUS judges for some really horrible rulings this week.
Ooh, when I tell you that you got a freebie, I didn't expect you to go ahead and cash it in quite so hard. Holy shit. I'm not saying that you're wrong by any stretch of imagination, but Jesus, man, take it easy on the rest of everybody. No, that's fair. That's fair.
That's a big one. And between the student debt thing and the same-sex website fraud thing and just in affirmative action, just go fuck yourselves.
And now that you really, really, really took full advantage of the freebie, which one do you want to have? Or maybe you want to flip it otherwise and just give me one more. There's got to be one more. Come on.
Donald Trump, go fuck yourself.
Well, that's a kind of an assumed. I was thinking maybe you were going to go ahead and you were going to get Ron DeSantis or Jim Jordan again or Three Toes or I guess they've been relatively low on the totem pole recently. I'll take that.
I think they've been a little quieter than usual. I think they know that they're in some deep shit. Indictments are happening. So, yeah.
And audio recordings are coming around. I believe the expression that we're looking for here is TikTok, motherfuckers. TikTok.
Yep. Can't wait.
So, let's call it a night. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. If you'd like to be in touch with us, take a swing over to the website, holycrapthevlogcast.com. All of our contact info is over there, and you can get the audio version of the podcast as well. If you'd like to be in voice contact, the phone number over there is 859-HCTV-554, area code 1, country code 1, because of course it has to be, because America's number 1 in everything, right? Now, it kind of was that exceptionalism, so country code 1. Area code 859, prefix HCT, suffix V554. Leave me alone. I'm doing the best that I can right now. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. I've had an exhausting week, and I don't have any coffee in me because I don't want to end up falling asleep, after daybreak again. So you all have yourselves a good week. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And I say it every time during this time of the year. Also, please remember, do not drink and boat. Get drunk on dry land, because if you fall over, you hit your head. You fall over a deck drunk, there's a really good, real possibility that you will not come up again. And as much as I might have people think that it's melodramatic, I don't know if you remember what it's called, but Brigid, there is a reaction that happens to the human body when it is immersed in substantially cold water that induces an influx of air, or at least that's what it's supposed to do for some stupid reason, which, if you take a header into water, suddenly you're not inhaling air. I don't remember if you remember what that particular reflex is called by any stretch of the imagination, do you?
Drowning.
That wasn't what I was looking for, but it fits. It absolutely fits. So, yeah, please just be careful. Be safe. And as I said on Friday night, if you're going to barbecue or have a bonfire, you don't need 87 octane to light it up. Please don't do that. No octane. Don't do it. If you're going to go Boating, please make sure that your bilge pump is working. Please. And if you're going to go out to the beach for swimming, know what a rip current is and how to get out of it. Please be safe.
And obey the flags.
Obey the flags, big time. Heavy duty, do that.
If they're red, don't do it.
And if you want to go out into the dunes in order to, enjoy a lot more, please just, sand gets into everything. Please just don't do that. Just don't. Like I've said before with the scopes, there's always a story. No, I'm not going to talk about it. Just, there's always a story. So, till next week, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. Fujin, I love you. Wow. I miss you. Dream of me. And as always, until the next time we're together, everyone, good night and be safe.